Hey YouTube, HassaanP again, business consultant. This is my second live. Mind you, I'm not really used to being on in front of the camera like that. I tried it with Twitch. Now I'm doing it with YouTube, so I'm getting used to it. But I was trying to use my phone because it has better resolution, but it told me that I need 50 subscribers. So guys, subscriptions are free. If you subscribe, that'll be a very I'll be very thankful to you guys because it'll allow me to get on here and actually do what I got to do. So basically, for as far as goal setting is concerned, we want to actually take a very close look at that as entrepreneurs because burnout is is a thing, um, and we don't want to burden ourselves with too many things. I myself like to take a very wise approach in terms of my own personal health and making sure that I'm not overbooking myself with a lot of frivolous things. 2024, this year, I'm going to be focusing a lot more on revenue and just really doing symmetric upside, such as doing something like YouTube, where if I'm consistent with it, over the course of the year, I could actually see some type of traction either in my audience or gaining subscriptions and people, working with me through my consulting business or regardless. And, one thing that I like to speak to a lot of entrepreneurs is that, playtime's over. We have to start removing small things from the list of activities that are not generating revenue. And if it's not going to be beneficial, we shouldn't necessarily be doing it. I know several different entrepreneurs in all different walks of life, dancers, consultants, marketers, and basically, if there's not an emphasis on actually putting money on the table, then it needs to be looked at twice. For example, networking is a buzzword. A lot of people like to say that they're networking and it's going to be an opportunity for them to meet somebody that's going to be able to put something on the table. Um, Realistically, I think that networking is more essential for the stage of your business that actually has a platform where you actually know what pieces you're going to need in order to have that running the right way. So if you don't have everything in place already, it's very difficult to know who you're going to actually need in the next steps of your process. Furthermore, networking can also be a big time waster, especially if you are doing it with your peers, so to speak, and they're at a similar stage that you're in, and you're all just hanging out, going to dinners and doing things that aren't necessarily going to be productive. Um, that needs to be cut out as well. Could put you in a much better mental space because your time is going to be towards that whatever part of the process that's actually creating the revenue. And again, I apologize for my resolution. Basically, this live is just to really get more comfortable on the screen. Again, I'm not really used to this world. This is very new to me. I tried to use my cell phone and they told me I needed 50 subscribers, so I'm not able to do that. And it would have been a lot clearer on my phone. So, we're going to build it while we fly, and I'm trying to do the best I can. I just put up 2 shorts today and a short video yesterday. So I'm trying to be consistent with putting out some content that could be of value to entrepreneurs. Because honestly, business owners are my people. I love business owners. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I don't think I would ever want to do anything else. It's just business owners to me are is a breath of fresh air because I feel very comfortable talking to CEOs and speaking to people As long as they're willing to talk, as long as there's some reciprocity, um, it's all gravy, so to speak. But other ways that we could actually look at reducing the stress on ourselves is to look at the goals in terms of the long play. If you go and you zoom out little bit, I know a lot of us we look at the daily goals. We want to look at 10-minute intervals and stuff like that. Things that in that sort of a time frame, because because at the end of the day, you don't really have people to delegate your tasks for you. So you don't. It's not like you have free time or necessarily the main things that are going to build your organic capital. That's basically what you need to be focused on. And one of the best outlooks is on a quarterly basis. I like using quarterly because on a quarterly basis, it reduces a lot of the stress that you're going to need to. Oh my God, I have to do this. I need to do this. I need to hit my daily goals. And basically, the way I look at it, if you don't have an organization in place that has employees and those of which that you can actually delegate tasks, you're going to really beat yourself up trying to do the impossible on a short time frame. You have enough to do already. There's really no reason to, you know, overwhelm yourself with things that are not going to be able to be done in an instant. That's my take on that. Some of you might disagree with me, but realistically, done if you sit back and realize what are the essential goals that you need to hit on a quarterly basis. I would even say quarterly because I'm from sales. Doing things on a monthly basis is a little too stressful. For example, the reason why we had sales quotas, I found it better for me to actually look at fund larger units or like in terms of volume, larger volume, and focus on that instead of just trying to hit numbers every day and realizing that I'm attracting smaller units, smaller, lower volume, because I'm basically just willing to take anything just to get it done. When you look at the long term, your quality will increase tremendously. That's my take on that. It's very important that you get acquainted with understanding that you're not going to be able to do everything by yourself or with a small team. You have to delegate tasks very appropriately, and you have to understand what the most important goals are going to be on the long-term basis, something that's going to actually help you build your enterprise and expand your business. And again, ultimately, it's going to lead back to really creating the revenues. The revenues have to be the most pivotal part of the business that I think that a lot of businesses don't necessarily focus on that at first. I think that a lot of times business owners that end up with this time crunch issue are usually perfectionist oriented. They're perfection oriented business owners that want to get every single thing perfect. Every 10 minutes or every 30 minutes, they have a time slot. Meanwhile, you got more important things to do. 9 times out of 10. And you know what? I'm able to look at organization. I could look at this business. If you got 50 people in your business, you probably have, some issues, either your culture, which is a different topic, your culture or what have you. But yeah, you have to make sure that at the end of the day, your culture is not being affected by the fact that you are someone that wants to get everything done at once and wants to cram a bunch of events in your calendar that don't matter at the end of the day. I've had to even sit back myself and really realize that when I'm prospecting for clients, because I used to cold call, I still cold call. Don't get it twisted. I still cold call, but back in the day when I was cold calling, I had to come to the realization that if someone's not going to be willing to work with me, sometimes you gotta let that prospect go. Put them on the back burner and go try to focus on somebody that does need your service or is willing to actually listen to you right now. Can't fight everything. You have to sit down sometimes and realize that you do not have control over those things. When you're putting a lot of different events and a lot of different, meetings and all this nonsense with clients in your calendar, you have to vet them out. Basically, I'm not a big believer in having white space on your calendar, but you have to still qualify all of the events that you're putting in your calendar. If not, you run into a situation where you have frivolous events that accomplish nothing. Case in point, you're a consultant and you are so desperate to get people in the door because you want to talk to them and have free consultations so that you can convert them. Number one, free consultations often go hand in hand with flaky clients that don't actually show up to the meetings. And number two, at the end of the day, when you really look at it, you're not even really going to convert a whole bunch of people that you're giving free advice to. When you do things for free, they're oftentimes going to take your advice and run. There's no commitment there. They came to you because it was free. So at the end of the day, you have to be very, very careful of the things that you're putting in your calendar. You cannot put everybody in your calendar. You can't put all events in your calendar. You have to vet things as an entrepreneur. That's a very big term. If you want to go get a loan, if you work with institutions or organizations, everyone vets you out. If you don't receive a phone call back, there's probably a reason why. So at the end of the day, you gotta do what's best for your own mental health. You gotta do what's best for the health of your organization. Your if you have employees or what have you, and don't overwhelm everybody because oftentimes when we trace back managers that are very that oftentimes micromanage is because they're the perfectionists or they're scared. And fear in business is oftentimes revenue related. Let's be honest, guys. If you're scared, if you're afraid of something that's going on in business, it's typically because you're not making the money. If you were making the money, then come on. There's other things that go along with it. It's not always money related, obviously. There's operations. There's other part of the operations that are indicative of the success of the company. You could have a bunch of money in the bank and lose a part of your operation, and all of a sudden you can't function. Or just for example, you could have a profitable company, but you might not be a product that'll put you to the next level. So we get it. But at the end of the day, micromanaging is never a good look. And it stems from the manager's culture, their own personal culture. What do they believe in? Stress everybody out like that. Giving people monthly quotas. Monthly quotas is just a very slippery slope because it makes people think very small. People think smaller on a monthly basis. If you're because the reason why is because you're trying to break you're not trying to fund you're not trying to create value on a monthly basis. Because once that happens, you start getting desperate because you know that every single day the clock is ticking. Now you got 30 days left, and really you don't have 30 days. You have 20 business days left. That's the issue with doing things on a monthly basis. I like quarterly basis because I can bring value monthly. I don't have to do everything in one day. If I don't hit it this month, I have next month. This month, the way I first month is really just to tee everything up for the second month. Yes, does that mean that you have to have revenue already? Of course. You have to make sure that you're in a comfortable place that you can go a month without necessary X quota. But for example, this month, I'm putting a lot of energy into so that I could get the dividends next month. I like to look at my goals on a quarterly basis. It makes it easier for me, less stressful. All I need to do is know that, yes, are there going to be daily tasks that are in place? Yes, but I don't have to hit a particular quota on a daily basis. There's no quota on a daily basis. There's really barely any monthly quotas. There's just the tasks themselves are going to produce value over time. So I don't have to stress myself so much about hitting quotas on a monthly basis or a daily basis. It's too much. It causes a lot of burnout in sales and business. It causes a lot of burnout when you think that way. It's better to think on a longer term basis. And I'm going to make some shorts on that because I do think that there are some people that need to hear it. They don't have to hey, nobody has, I really, honestly, YouTube is just extra. It doesn't really, a lot of times when we go on here, we're trying to create value, but I create value other ways. But I think somebody might want to hear it. If I could say it in a way that it resonates with people, I think it's important because I want to see entrepreneurs succeed and the long term, and stop really focusing on things you can't control on a short term basis. You're going to have bad days. There's going to be days where you do everything and things don't work. There's going to be months like that. So I would rather say that, as a business owner, I had one good month out of 3 than saying I had one good week out of 4, or one good, a handful of good days out of the month. It's not easy to do that. It's not easy to have every single day be prosperous on a month to month basis when you're starting out. And even moving forward as your goals progress. It's not going to be easy to, chop up the month in a certain amount of days and think that every day is going to be perfect. Things happen. You lose deals, you lose opportunities, you lose clients sometimes, but it's about moving forward and really keeping, again, the long-term vision alive. So remember, got to qualify those. Anything that you're putting in your calendar has to be vetted. You can't just put a bunch of events in there. You have an event with some colleagues of yours that work for a different firm that's, they're somewhere. They may not necessarily be in your immediate location or your immediate competition, but they have a small business. You have a small business. You guys are going out to dinner. You guys are talking and things of that nature. Okay, that's fine. You guys don't necessarily always have to bring value immediately. Sometimes it's really just a matter of staying in touch. That's very important. But if you guys are doing onboarding meetings, or if you're doing meetings with other companies that you really don't know, just because they bring value to you because you haven't put the due diligence into that you need to be wary of, and that those are energy takers. Those waste a lot of energy and time. If you don't really know what you're trying to get out of the relationship. And yes, it's important to know because you have an entity that you're trying to bring to life, and you want to make sure that the people that you're associating with, and the companies and events that you're putting on your calendar are all going to be something that brings you value, either in the long term. It could be the short term, depending on what it is. Like you want to meet up with a bunch of marketers or a bunch of tech people because you want to get something working immediately. That's fine. That's part of your operation, your immediate operation. However, if it's something where it's, for example, if you're a real estate agent and you have a bunch of meet and greets and stuff like that, come on, you want to make sure that the people that are showing up there, they have their credit is already, or the credit that they claim to have is already up to par. You want to send out a survey, right? You want to make sure that everybody that's going to be attending this function or X function, you want to start vetting. Ultimately, that gives a lot of stress. It leaves a lot of stress that you probably would have went through just going through a lot of mud. If you're cold calling, if you're in sales and you're cold calling and you're getting a lot of objections, you can try to beat the guy over the head, but honestly, at the end of the day, you're gonna have to ask them how much money. You're gonna have to know how much money you could potentially get out of them in order to get value. Because I'm in business financing, and if the client isn't making a certain amount a year, or isn't worth a certain amount, or isn't asking for a certain amount, and they're trying to basically beat me up, ask me, throw a whole bunch of objections, I might have to make a decision on the fly whether or not I even want to entertain that client. And I think that that's something that the entrepreneurs tend to be very desperate. That's the word, desperate. Yep. Stop being desperate. Matter of fact, I'm gonna write that. I'm gonna write that right now because I'm gonna make a short. I'm gonna make a short video with that concept. Oh yeah, and by the way, um, I'm not gonna be like other YouTubers that if I was running, a dinner or a meeting or something like that, and I was meeting up with you in your local town, or if I was running an event in my town, I wanted to keep things very casual and relaxed because as business owners, we're already going to have a lot of stress and things like that anyway. I really don't want to sound like everybody else. I want to have a more personable, down to earth tone. Also, another thing is I want to actually start doing live calls, but my YouTube game gonna have to go up, and I'm gonna have to change a lot of things. Like get a better. I need to actually get an actual camera and stop using my laptop camera. I don't even want to use my cell phone, but I will if I have to, and things of that nature. I already forgot what I was going to write down, so I'm gonna have to rewatch this video. I'm gonna write the timestamp, 23 minutes. Yeah, just gonna keep it casual. Um, I think I find it better to collaborate like that. I don't think that I need to be super corporate or what have you. If I get my point across and people see the value, then we could go far like that. The other thing I don't like is that the reception. I don't know why, but it's very choppy and there's a lot of skipping going on. So I'm gonna try to keep these lives very short for that reason. So yeah, again, if there's any way that you guys think that you could give any life hacks on how to basically keep the stress very low in terms of goal setting and things of that nature. Leave comments in the go to the comment section or the chat. Leave something in the chat if you're coming in. Yeah, just trying to get used to everything. These videos really don't even count. I'm going to unload a lot of content, and basically my short form is going to be a lot more. It's going to be going to have a lot more juice. It's going to be very concise, but it's going to get to the point. It's going to be bringing value and bites instead of long form. I know nobody's going to watch really in the beginning stages anyway, so I'm just kind of taking the time to get used to everything, get used to being on the camera, um, really listening to how I sound and things like that, knowing what kind of service I'm getting in terms of the actual connection, because it seems like there's some connection issues that I didn't know about. So um, yeah, I think the shorts are going to be a lot more valuable for me to actually grow the channel. These I'm going to do what I have to do, but in the meantime, yeah, we're here. Um, I need to go back to 23 and find out what I said because I forgot already, and I'll see you guys later.